First things first, you already win. You already him. You don't gotta pretend. Fuck them. You already king. You stay real. You confident in your skin. It's all now. Sit in the power that you already in. This the story of a master from a true Bedouin, far away from home if you ever been. First round pick, league of the smooth gentleman. The game rigged like 50 said it's a cruel sentiment. I'm from the era when lyrics and bars is over everything. 5-star veteran. Couldn't walk in my fucking shoes and carry them. Excuse my borderline is very thin. Been married to the game like ever since maybe 2010. I realized most of y'all not serious. Point blank period. I flex and twist necks like cherry stems. Thought he was buried, but there he is.
It's November 8th. And it's another episode of How Really Sees It, yo. It's another episode. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Applause. 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 Today is episode 109. And we keep rolling, and in our 30 for 30 series, we're looking at day 25, and it is fantastic. Life continues to roll, and we are lifing today. We wanted to get on early. I usually been on around like 9 p.m., but now it's around 5. And why not? It's Friday night. I wanted to have our chat sooner and then just kind of chill into the weekend. So what are we going to be talking about today? Let's see. Yeah. Bad takes. That's what we talking about today. Applause and alert. Bad takes. It's the post-election. I already told you last episode and a couple episodes ago. We're in this period now where we are going to have to endure weeks and weeks of people trying to explain what happened between Trump and Harris. Why did Trump win? What does it mean? What does it tell us about the country? And without a doubt, it tells us some things. But people will have a ton of different takes, and each of their takes will not be representative of reality for sure. It won't have a full picture. It'll just be a take. It'll just be an opinion, and it will be laden with the values and the fears and the preoccupations of the take giver, the storyteller. I'm trying to put that out straight and say that clearly and say that a few times so that people know as they're watching these things, you aren't watching anything expert. What they do sometimes, they set up themselves as experts and then they say things, and then people at home feel compelled to carry those words and to carry those perspectives because those are expert perspectives, and they can be backed up, and they just kind of sort of feel right. They follow a certain logic, right? But of course, if you're watching, for instance, MSNBC for the last 2 years, there's a certain logic that's been building up to this, that's been building the entire thing from the Biden campaign and all of the struggles in that era to the transition into the Harris campaign, and all the way leading up to election day and now post-election. Yes, there's a logic there, and if you've been watching these same characters spitting that same logic, then maybe you might internalize their story. You might become in tune with them. Your periods might line up, but it doesn't mean that they're making sense or that's it's the only way to look at things or that that's a full picture. And so one of the things that's really important is that I find it really dangerous, unfortunate, that, like I said in the last episode, there's the media class at this moment who have, engaged with the political season the way that they have now, that they have this in this moment with the failure of the Democrat Party to secure either of the houses of Congress or the presidency. They're pitting people against each other. Instead of talking about the failures of the political class and of the media classes, they're pitting demographics against each other. As I said, they go to the room, they invite each other onto the TV show, and so you got the TV anchor who corporate TV anchor with the corporate candidate, and they just kind of like wink and nod and agree that, yeah, we did everything we could. The pundits and we said the right words over and over. We kept telling people, Harris, all these damn voters, they don't know what to do. And so all of a sudden they just blame the voters. And I think it's crazy. I don't know of in any real industry, any real place that is connected to the humans who are interacting, who are feeding. Let's say it's a food spot and you come up with this new chicken sandwich, this new crazy chicken sandwich. It's this new fucking crazy chicken sandwich. You add some like, cereal bits and you got really creative with it. Nobody asked for that shit, but you made it. And then you have a test run a couple of nights and the audience rejects it. People don't show up to the restaurant, or people eat it and they're like, "Oh, this is bad." They ask the kitchen to cook it over. They want something back. They expressly state that this isn't what they asked for. Most restaurants would have to change their menu. Most restaurants would take that new absurd chicken sandwich off the menu. But only in this arena, in this political space, do they go, "What? You're racist if you don't like the chicken sandwich. You're a bad person if you don't like the chicken sandwich." Whatever you need, either racist or sexist or something else. Instead of looking at themselves, they're so committed to their product and to their rightness and to their intelligence, of course. They're even saying things like, "It was a perfect, flawless, objectively flawless," in quotation, objectively flawless campaign. And so the only place they can place blame is on voters. Really? Yeah, that's what they're doing. And in order to place blame on the voters and in order to fill up 24 hours of the news cycle, they have to tell stories. And so they have all this data. You've got polling data from before the election. You've got polling data from after the election. You have all of the, more information is going to come out every day. They're going to have, they're going to try to fill out this map and they're going to go in and tell you, okay, in this district, in this part of the state, whatever. And they're going to weave a story, and they're going to be able to, because that's what words and storytelling allows you to do. And that's what journalism, especially a certain kind of journalism that needs to fill up space. They're going to be able to tell stories, and they're going to tell stories that will benefit them, the storyteller, and the whole apparatus, and will not shine the white, hot, valuable light and give us the awareness to understand what is really going on, shine it right back at themselves. They won't do it. Why would they do that? Why would they create content to say, "Oh, we were kind of dumb. Maybe we should have done something else. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't be funding a genocide." Of course, they won't even use those words. These are the same people that won't even use the appropriate words to call things what they are, because the entire thing is a political gumbo. It's all a mix of nonsensical stuff. And instead of helping us unweave and unravel and learn about it, they would rather tell us to hate each other. They would rather tell us to hate each other. And I see people doing it. People are quick to adopt this sensibility. So black men are on the hook right now. Men continue to be on the hook. White men continue to be looked at for their racism. White women, how dare they? They're racist, of course, and it's important to speak with nuance, because those elements are part of a thing, but the narrative that's being pushed doesn't even allow us to learn. It doesn't give us any room for any. You're talking about, it's framed in such a way that we're dealing with a populace of people who cannot be changed, and there's nothing that can be done on our side. It's a disempowering narrative, and it's intentionally so, because as I said in the last episode, the people on cable news who are doing this, they might have honest conversations or quasi-honest conversations in private, but in public, the goal is to make sure that in your mind and in your mama's mind and in your daddy mind and in the people across the street and everybody around you, that we don't have a critique for the policies and the presentation and the marketing and the campaigning and the fundraising and the entire deal. That we stay focused and talk on the level of identities and hatreds and bias and things that are real and need to be addressed, but are entirely, that remove any culpability from the very storytellers that are telling a story. And that's why you have to stop watching that stuff. It's not valuable. It's not good. It is not reality. Further, it's teaching us to hate each other. What a terrible thing. I'm gonna go to a post. I had to screenshot this, yo. This is a someone I know is posting this on Instagram, and I just want to read this. This is a black woman who wrote this, a friend of mine. She says, Black women will no longer be advocating for anyone else's causes. Do not call us on to free Palestine. Do not call on us to stand up against Asian hate. Do not call on us for solidarity with indigenous people. Do not ask us to organize against mass deportations. We will be busy trying to protect our community from your decision to throw us, the people who have always had your backs, under the bus. Y'all have never been there for us in return. You're on your own. Leave us alone. Yikes. Yikes. And that was posted without caption by a grown woman, a black woman who's an educated black woman. And if she truly feels that way, I just think that's a terrible place to arrive at. I think it's driven in part by all this buildup. We've had years and years of buildup. Again, the dominant news media, which sets our discourse, has told us that November 5th is this tremendous day and moment. And it is all this buildup for don't even worry. We're not talking about Biden in the moment. We're not talking about genocide. We're not talking about education rates. We're not talking about Flint. We're not talking about all these others. We're talking about, we got to get focused for this campaign. Donald Trump is on the other end, and he's a fascist, and everything hinges on this one day. And even while they're doing that, they're doing a poor job of preventing their worst case scenario. And then when the thing happens, it's this massive like release of like into nothingness. It's as if the question is, if you really, you no longer want to engage with any other people because you feel that people have abandoned black women. What an interesting narrative. Like it's like, what makes you accept that narrative? Especially since we understand that there are thousands of narratives that one could take in this moment. This is a narrative that one wants to take if someone takes a narrative like that. It's like, no matter who the president was, it's always a now. And there's always a political reality. There's always a political challenge. There's always a requirement for us to like capture the moment and to push back against all kinds of encroachments. And if you think that the November 5th results in favor of Donald Trump require that you back off and like you're disinterested entirely, I fear that you were also probably disinterested. You would have been disinterested if she had won too, but it would have been different. If we had President Harris in this moment, it would be a big party and it would be like, oh, we did our job and we're good now. And that would be wrong. And so it's also wrong in the flip. But the story, it's as if you find a way to craft a narrative that allows you to sort of back off and not be politically engaged in any event. Whatever occurs, we can craft a narrative that says, you know what, this is immovable. Can't do anything with this. These white people crazy. These men are crazy. And we can't do it. And this is, and people kind of like that story. People like that. We can kind of lament and look at each other and be exasperated and throw our hands up and talk about getting passports to Canada and all these other things. Instead of like hunkering down into the now, working hard to have honest conversations to assess the condition with as much clarity as possible. I'll tell you, if you're not so much into the politics thing regularly beyond campaigns, one of the dopest and most interesting ways that you could be politically active outside of the voting horse race nonsense is in media analysis, is in helping us consistently speak with accuracy. That it's not, and speak in a way that isn't like to really point out and notice the entanglements with the media and the political parties, right? To engage with that would help. That's going to be necessary now as we continue to live in this country with their new president. It's also it's also a way to engage that takes the weight off of like this hatred divisional stuff. Alongside that meme or that post I described is I'm hearing about like cats are back to Starbucks as a way to punish Palestinian activists. They're saying, yeah. Way to go, guys. You ruined our election. We're going back to Starbucks. I saw a wild post. It's hard to do. See, I don't even want to like post like show some of these because sometimes I'm responding to crazy shit that I find on the internet. I could do that, but I'm actually interested in improving the conversation. So I don't want to like focus too much in on the crazy shit on the internet. But I saw a black woman who was upset about Kamala Harris's loss, and she said she's looking into condos and she's looking into them condos in Gaza because it's gonna be good because you ruined. You're actually telling on yourself. You're telling that you weren't meaningfully. You continue to not be meaningfully interested in this project, in this humanist project, a democratic humanist project in this country or globally. If you consider this a stumble that we have this new, the return of Donald Trump, it's a stumble and it's an opportunity to like adjust and do things. But if you're someone who doesn't, you're not interested in it anyway, and you kind of prefer to be exasperated, and you weren't going to engage anyway, and you didn't engage when Joe Biden was president, then here's another opportunity, yo. Oh my God, it's not all these racists. I throw my hands up and don't speak to me. Don't tell me to be. It's a great like scapegoat, great opportunity to go. Don't tell me to protest anything in the future. I'm done. I'm done with you guys. Oh, because that's what you wanted. And it's a bad take. So it's rooted in like, and we should be able to self-analyze and see why those takes are attractive to us. And then also be critical of the news media people who are so quick to throw each other under the bus and come up with these demographic differences and give narratives that make us want to hate black men or hate in general, hate white women or whatever, because it's cheap sentences. I've been talking about this for a while. The the polls come back and they tell you white women, suburban Chicago, evangelicals, blah blah blah, and these are just word categorizations that are, in my mind, very dated. And they come, it's not just a word categorization because it comes with a story behind the word categorization, right? Because it wouldn't mean anything if you just had like black men or white women, or evangelicals. There's a set of assumptions about how those people act. And that needs to be updated on the top levels and the people actually doing the campaigning. This professional campaign class has to actually improve their lens on how they're perceiving the voting population. But instead of doing that work, it's much easier because they would have to reframe quite a few things. It's much easier to lean in further in all of this sort of hyper categorization and storytelling, and to tell the voter that they're the problem. They ran a flawless campaign. Flawless. Applause for that. Flawless campaign. Winner, winner. I wanted to press that button, I'll be honest with you. I was like, how am I need something to press that winner button for. So here it is. It's a bad take. And it's not just a bad take, it's a false take. And it's not just a false take, it's a divisive take that leads into the worst tendencies of our human social condition. And we got people doing this live on television 24/7. So, forget all that. Forget all that. You have a massive political apparatus who is who's got a military industrial complex run amok, who's operating and funding genocidal military actions abroad. And we're all able to see it. We're all connected globally. in a way that interferes with their ability to sort of mask and describe it the way that they want it to describe it. Interferes with their ability to give us their narrative we're able to see. And instead of sort of really reevaluating everything politically and coming in alignment with the values and needs of the voters, they simply are going to tell you to hate each other. So I read that one joint. I told you about the woman who said she's checking out for the condos. I saw another one was specifically for black men. It was black women to black men and how upset they were. And it's funny because the stats on black men voter turnout for Kamala wasn't terrible. It wasn't as high as black women's, but it was definitely the second best category. But that difference is there, and you can if you know, it can be framed as unacceptable, and then you can write a scathing thing against black men and post it on the internet and get a bunch of likes. Why not? It's right there for you. But again, it's like the actual story is much more complex, and if you're gonna have some anxiety and some anger, it should be towards the politicos who are failing to represent you and then lying to you about it. Like, that's actually the right way to do it, obviously. And we continue to have conversations about misogyny, about racism and all that stuff, but you don't summarize the election this way, and you're so downtrodden and angry, and you say you're not going to ever engage with any political thing again, any intersectional anything, all other groups of people. You define yourself, you're black women, and all other groups of people are not worthy of your time because they failed you somehow. This is a story. It's not true. You don't have to hold on to that. You don't got to internalize that shit. Chop that shit. It's a terrible thing. It's not a good look. And we need to call it that. Like, people think that, we don't properly assess these television personalities and what they're doing. Oh, it's just their opinion. Nah. It is their opinion. But it's also, when you really pull out and actually notice from what their opinion emerges, like what this whole apparatus produces, then you can properly, like, get a sense of what's going on. And you don't have to just internalize these stories. But we have work to do, people. This is the beginning of another, like, journey and another process. I think the transfer of power doesn't happen until next year. We're going to watch this administration, the lame duck administration, figure itself out, justify itself, continue to do whatever it wants. Let's see if, I've seen also bad takes. People like, what does it mean for the Democrats now that they lost? This one operative goes, well, I guess that's over for the progressive part. The progressives are done. They're now the Democrats already. They've been done. Obviously, like, the Democrats haven't represented progressive values in quite some time. But according to this operative, this election teaches them to move further towards the right. They need to continue doing the Chuck Schumer concept. The Bill Clinton triangulation concept. And all the while, they're going to tell you to keep voting for them, by the way. While doing that, while telling you they're doing that, they're going to tell you to keep voting for them. So, some wild stuff. But you know what? Where we at? I'm going to call it, yo. Thanks for watching. This is how Billy sees it. Another episode in the books. I will be on tomorrow, and we are in the last couple of episodes, yo, before the 30 for 30 is done, yo. I'm appreciating it. Let me get my music on. All right, peace. Listen, you see what you're looking for, yo. You really do. You see what you're looking for, and it's all one thing. Peace. Fight when the mic's on. Peace, I might respawn. I hook left with the right arm. Living in 5-star. Ring the alarm. My full
nature is still greater. I'm twice born, but never the ball. That's the fucking level I'm on. Picture me lost, I'm differently raw. Been through the muck, most y'all instantly barf. Now I'm strictly the boss, drippy, hood hippie couture. Feeding these bitches till it's ripping they jaw. For y'all fans of the bullshit, me flicking it off. I damage your whole clique, these clowns really pissing me off. My verse is heat, and scripted is law. Like, bitch, you fucking know who you singing across, huh?
Okay, you got their attention now,
I
bro.
keep winning.
You just gotta keep showing them what it is,
I
man.
keep winning.
Your shit different for real, though.
I keep winning.
Yo, stay away from this politics,
I
though,
keep
my
winning.
dude. They still not getting the message, kid.
I keep winning.
They still don't understand where you coming from.
I keep winning.
But make sure you secure the fucking ground.
I keep winning.
I see the growth.
Yo,
Keep going.
I'm through playing it low key. Don't sleep. My power levels are OP. I'm floating. The mask
It
off.
is what it is.
Crew run deep, bigger than Sasquatch. We that large, the last gladiator. Blast off. It's either